Secretary of State Rex Tillerson made a rare press appearance at the State Department Wednesday to refute reports that he had disparaged the president and had to be talked out of quitting. CBS News White House and senior foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan has the story.
He loves his country. He puts Americans and America first. He's smart.
The press-averse Secretary of State declared that he never considered quitting his job, but did not deny having referred to the president as a moron.
We don't deal with that kind of petty nonsense, and it is intended to do nothing but divide people. And I'm just not going to be part of this effort to divide this administration.
The State Department spokesperson later denied it.
The Secretary did not use that type of language to speak about the President of the United States.
The president was told Tillerson made the remark after this July meeting at the Pentagon. Days earlier, the president had blown up at Tillerson over sharply differing views on the Iran nuclear deal. Tillerson himself was frustrated. He'd been undermined on other key issues, including Venezuela and a Mideast dispute. It also became personal. Tillerson, a lifelong Boy Scout, was dismayed by Mr. Trump's comments at a Boy Scout gathering.
Who the hell wants to speak about politics when I'm in front of the Boy Scouts, right?
The president has been personally frustrated by Tillerson's reluctance to defend his equivocation on Charlottesville.
I think there's blame on both sides.
The president speaks for himself.
But the two men spoke by phone today, and Tillerson's spokesperson said they're all good. And despite the president's tweet this weekend telling the Secretary of State to stop wasting his time by trying to start talks with North Korea, he said today that he has total confidence in him.
Yeah, I'm very honored by his comments.
Senator Bob Corker, who's chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, said today that some in the administration are trying to undercut Tillerson's authority, but that Tillerson, along with Defense Secretary Jim Mattis and Chief of Staff John Kelly, are trying to separate the country from chaos. Elaine?
Well, Margaret, in your piece, you described Secretary Tillerson as press-averse. Why did he feel the need to address this particular report?
The secretary rarely speaks to the press, rarely does so on camera, and today he scrambled this press conference very suddenly after these press reports surfaced this morning, and we are told it is because he knew that the president was very angry and that it was his own decision to make these comments. We're told that they were written here at the State Department, weighed in on by Tillerson himself, not cleared by the White House, and so he clearly knew that the president was well aware and watching television reports about these comments going public, and that he needed to try to silence them as quickly as possible. Of course, by the end of the day, we ended up with President Trump saying he still has confidence in Rex Tillerson, so it appears, at least for today, that the comments achieved what he wanted them to.
The Secretary's relationship with UN Ambassador Nikki Haley has also been called into question. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, this is an ongoing tension that those who cover foreign policy have been tracking here with the UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, who is also a cabinet member, and the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, here at the State Department, who typically takes the lead on foreign policy as America's top diplomat. While Nikki Haley has said publicly she's not looking to be Secretary of State, also claims she turned the job down when President Trump first offered it to her, what we do know is that she has gone out with public statements that haven't been cleared by the State Department, something that you'd coordinate typically on to make sure the team's all running in the same direction. We also know that she showed up in that Iran meeting at the UN General Assembly in New York, which really raised the eyebrows of a number of U.S. allies and partners in that deal because it was breaking protocol, at least of what they were used to. So there's been speculation added to by the State Department itself, because it was the Secretary of State's press person, R.C. Hammond, who came out and said that Vice President Pence and Secretary Tillerson had privately been discussing whether Nikki Haley was doing a good job or not, something that the Vice President then issued an on-the-record statement later in the day denying, saying that they never discussed that and that he's a big supporter of Nikki Haley. To put the Vice President in that awkward position is something that has caused some waves here at the State Department. It doesn't mean, though, that there isn't truth to the tension. We can tell you that is very much the case.
Right. Margaret Brennan at the State Department for us. Margaret, thank you.